Good morning, my fabulous friends. Today we are reading on Meghan Markle's big mouth, and will it prove her guilt? My name is Rainbow, and here we use oracle cards to test the energy. If you are interested in having cards read for yourself, check out my weekend live, where I do live readings for free, on camera, for the viewers. Just click my channel name and click the word live. It'll tell you when the next one is scheduled, and I hope you can join us. So today, Meghan's big mouth, does it prove her guilt? And what I'm talking about here, I'm circling back to the bath salts issue, and there's something that she said on that episode that I think is going to seal her fate. Oath. And this is the energy that I've been getting. And the oath to me about this situation relates to, remember when she put the peanut pretzels from the one bag into the other bag? Oh, if you don't know what the bath salts thing is, she showed on her TV show about making bath salts by putting Epsom salts, Himalayan salts, and arnica oil, essential oils, into a big pack to make bath salts for her friend, the crying makeup artist Daniel. And basically she's encouraging viewers to do the same. And somebody created their own bath salts following what Meghan said, and they've come up with really terrible burns, and they're now threatening to sue her for $10 or $12 million. And this lady really just wants her medical expenses covered and a little bit extra for pain and suffering. But Meghan's lawyers have shot back and said, oh, well, nobody could have expected that this would happen. And to that I say baloney, because firstly, the whole point of the show is for her to show things that people are going to copy. And many experts have come out and said that this recipe was irresponsible and dangerous and could lead to exactly what's happened. This poor lady has got burns all over her body now after she made the bath salts and put them in her bath. So what is the oath part? Part of the commentary that I've seen online, even by other lawyers, has said Meghan didn't owe a duty of care to her viewers. Well, again, I think that's baloney, because clearly she did. She was providing them with this recipe, for want of a better word, for the purpose of them copying her. But there was something that she said in that episode that I think a good lawyer can really, if they bring that to a jury's attention, that this can really make the entire case. And this is Meghan's big mouth. So when she was putting the pretzels from the one bag into the other bag for her makeup artist Daniel, she put a note on it, and she said, contains peanuts, like an allergy warning, just in case. And she said, I know Daniel, I've known him for 15 years, I know he doesn't have a nut allergy, but I'm going to write it on here anyway, because you can't be too careful. And those are the words, you can't be too careful. And that was the same episode as where she showed you to do the bath salts. So any reasonable viewer watching her, seeing how she is with her makeup artist Daniel, how she writes on the package there, you can't be too careful, contains nuts, just in case, that indicates or shows a person who is very conscientious, who is very careful, who, even though she knows her makeup artist is not allergic, she still writes on the packaging, on the label, that it contains nuts, just in case. So a viewer watching this would then quite reasonably assume that the person creating the show is very cautious, and that anything they can rely on anything that they said can be relied on as an oath. They can take them at their word. They can, without having to do any further research, rely on the recipes and tips, information provided by Meghan Markle. They can use that in their own life without having to worry that it might cause them harm or damage. So this is Meghan's big mouth, and she took a massive risk when she did that episode. And people who follow her recipes are not going to think that they're taking a risk. They're going to think it's the opposite of a risk. They're going to think that Meghan has made sure that there's no risk, that it's risk-free. If it was somebody that they didn't trust, they might not think it's a risk. But because Meghan has said these words, she has created a risk for other people to blindly follow her. And look at that. Hope, but in the upside down. There's no hope. There's no hope. This is Meghan's energy that I'm reading here. If she goes to court with this, there's no hope of her winning fulfillment. And this reminds me of the in that show. She was always drinking. She was always making a mimosa. She was always making a cocktail. And you would, yeah, it's just this happy-go-lucky kind of lifestyle, but in the reverse. And they're trapped, but in the upside down. So her viewers were free to follow her advice and assume that there was no risk. And look, there she is, Meghan Markle. Because people believe in her and because of her very own words, her big mouth, her pretending to be this most caring of hosts. And there's the chameleon card. And again, this card reminds me of Meghan Markle. She changes her colours all the time. First she's a mom, and then she's an influencer, and then she's a whatever. She's got all these different hats that she wears. And look at that lady there. She's got a little crown on her head. So in that show, she is positioning herself as the reliable, almost like Martha Stewart kind of energy. And this card here, this is my trapped card, but in the upside down. So that means freedom. If you follow her, feel free to follow, and on the bottom of the card is also a freedom card. Feel free to follow my recipes. This will make you know how to treasure yourself and your guests. And there's a predatory energy, and a fighting energy. The predatory energy, this is for me, Meghan on her show. She's just out to say anything she can in the hopes of making a quick buck. Basically, she's just making money. She's not really concerned about who might get hurt. It didn't even occur to her. Didn't even give any thought. And then this fighting energy is, don't come at me just because you followed what I told you to do. She's going to fight tooth and nail to avoid any claims. She's going to say, well, it was your fault, you were stupid. Already her lawyers have said to this poor lady that got all these horrific burns, you should have read the packaging. Epsom salts are not supposed to be used by somebody who's got diabetes, which this poor lady does have. Well, my packaging doesn't say have a diabetes warning, and many others have gone online saying, well, look, I've got my packaging, and that it doesn't say that. Egotism. Meghan wanted to hold herself out as the guru, the Martha Stewart figure. She wanted to show herself better than others. She wanted to, pretty much make herself out to be this expert. However, the lies card, she is not an expert, and she cannot then be shocked and surprised when somebody follows her advice. And this revenge card has come out. I'm not sure why, but it's very similar energy to this fighting card. And I don't know if the revenge is now that her lawyers have said bad things about the poor lady that burnt herself, whether this is going to be game on, whether it's going to really go much further. And I still think that those lawyers could call for to see if any other people have been injured by using this recipe. And look at that, the death card. The death card's a very ominous card, of course. It doesn't necessarily mean actual death. Natural disaster and a man-made disaster. Oh dear, this is Meghan. Disaster, disaster, disaster. Oh, there's going to be a cover-up. Oh no. Oh no, we might not even hear any more of this. Maybe her lawyers will quietly pay off this lady. But this death card really is all about its endings, pain, suffering, injury, using others to get your own way. And it's also the ending of something, ending of her Netflix career. This could be the one step too far where Netflix just says, that's it, I'm done, I've had enough. This woman is just more trouble than what she's worth. What do you think? Please leave me a note in the comment. Do you think that she'll be found liable because of her big mouth? Do you think she deserves to pay this lady anything? And I know some people have said, oh, but there's no proof. This woman's just saying this. Well, there is proof. The proof is the woman's story. Excuse me. And also her burns. Her terrible, terrible burns. Let me just read one more. There's another deck that's calling me. And they can bring in evidence from an expert to say this is a very dangerous combination. This could really burn somebody. They could bring in a dermatologist. They can bring in some kind of scientist who tests the pH or something of this concoction to show that it's dangerous. So there's Meghan pretending to be the loving hostess, mother, not really concerned about the potential damage. And Netflix, I don't know why Netflix didn't put a warning on it. There's the authenticity card. That's the energy that Meghan is trying to portray. She will never ever admit that she's done anything wrong. Remember to please like this video if you do, and subscribe if you haven't. And even if you have subscribed, check to see if you're still subscribed. This card says resilience, and look, they flipped a pancake and they got it on their head. Yeah, Meghan's not going to let this stop her. She is not going to let this stop her. She's just going to keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on. Yeah. So, and I'm getting from that is even if Netflix cancels her, she will sell herself out to the next studio, Superpower. She's certainly this year shown more of a work ethic than she has in previous years. Inspiration. She wants to be an inspiration to the world. Yeah, it's very dangerous what she's done, and the fact that she refuses to admit responsibility, to my mind, is just morally bereft. Please leave me your comments. I always find them really interesting, and it does help the channel to be shown to other people. And my prayer for you today is, may the angels walk with you now and always.